Alright, Mobius, where are you at? There you are. Let me talk to you now. I'll talk to you like this way.
Hmm? Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. Little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely.
Is that better?
Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoises were the worst. Would you care for a mentat?
Save it for later.
I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-erific thoughts and ideas when those chalky talents are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end.
You aren't exactly what I was expecting. I mean, we could kill him, but I want to ask him questions before I make a decision here of whether or not we kill him. I don't know if there's a benefit if by choosing, like, letting him surrender or actually killing him. I don't know if there's a benefit to that, but we're going to ask questions first. So you aren't exactly what I was expecting. You seem pretty, like, just, I don't know, not with it.
Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I.
Guess we can't say. Why did you steal my brain?
Oh, a variety of raisins. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition.
The thing is I do want my brain back, but I like the surgery that they've done and the effects that I'm getting, the bonus effects that I'm getting from it. Why is that a problem?
I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for almost everything I do. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially important. Oh well.
But I want to leave.
Now, that seems to be rather hormonal of you. Flight or fight response, you know. Hard to cut that out completely. Your brain is here, safe with me. We chat over mentats.
I was curious about some things, definitely, for sure. Let me ask that before I ask the brain.
Curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Or maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant answers.
Okay. I can't fix your monitor, but if you're getting ghost reception, I can fix that. Sure.
The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good, good, better. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon mentats break.
Okay. Can you tell me about your robo-scorpions?
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poisonous frosting.
Dessert.
How scary, I thought. But they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking eyes and data-drained computers and acted as bullhorns? Then I made them bigger. Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts.
So, the reason that we thought he was perceived as this very smart scientist, the only thing that's smart about him is when he takes mentats. Other than that, he's pretty much a dum-dum. You don't seem aggressive. Why broadcast threats to the think tank? Yeah.
Oh, I was probably tripping
And drugs
hard
as well,
on
yeah.
Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose.
Wait, sounds like you built the Robo-Scorpions, issued threats to keep the think tank occupied.
Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. Some reason for it. Ethics or, conscience? You and
Conscience.
your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the raisins better than I do.
Everything you told me doesn't add up. Your plan, even your name, Mobius.
Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name, and my new name overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I, although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity at the nature of such an appellation. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is forbidden.
Forbidden
As for
planet.
the name I was born with, like
That's
the
probably
think tank,
what he watched.
we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. It enforces the recursion loop in our perception programming.
You reprogram their names as part of recursion loop? What, to trap their processors?
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. It's all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't until you said trap, and then I said excrement, and then...
Why did you trap them?
The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They
Super
keep
warm in
testing
here.
things. They would have found a way to disarm it. I suspect I have Plan 9s in place, but I may have coded myself to forget
Plan 9.
them, just in case. They're probably very dangerous, lethal, or worse.
We had the Wild Wasteland appear there.
So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan 9s in case the 7s fail.
Klein, Mobius, zeros, a circle, 8's an infinity symbol. They're all loops, I get it. Oh, okay.
Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time, and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quite professional.
Minor detail, but a snake devouring its own tail is Ouroboros, not Ouroboros.
Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do.
If you lobotomize a think tank, why terrorize them?
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a reason. That I didn't change. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. And when they start deucing it up, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. Bacteria, finally able to see its host.
There were other visitors, though. Why am I different?
There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who dialed back their monitor micromagnifiers. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. And then there was the whole brain fiasco, which forced me to take steps. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a uniquity that they had never thought to try in all their countless escape attempts.
Ooh, we got some option here. The only wrinkle is the one bullet. The one that bullet made going into my brain pan. Cranial injury from the attack outside Goodsprings. Yeah. The bullet that went into my brain, Doc Mitchell tried to patch me up, but...
Yes, very good. I should have Mentats ingest you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had suffered a cranial injury in just the right place, bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis.
Bullet headitis.
But it was enough for the autodoc in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem, and the brain extraction technology for once worked. That gave the think tank the knowledge its brains couldn't possess. With that knowledge, the procedure can be reversed. If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cells into hosts to slip past the radar fence. I'm sure of it. And once they're off the reservation...
So if I don't get my ring back in my head, I can never leave. So they set the threats to keep them occupied. Klein said that they had the idea to get 3 technologies after your broadcast. Coincidence?
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it, potty mouth. My threat broadcast is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly.
What is the purpose of the technologies?
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things.
Wizard of Oz,
They
man.
had them all the
That was
time
Wizard
in
of
the
Oz.
story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either.
Was there any other data transmitted in the threat broadcast?
Yes, my overly aggressive cammed up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so.
The think tank downloaded the schematics, not the items. They can rebuild them.
Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried.
Wow. Alright, curious about some
Yes.
things. Last thing is... I need my brain back.
Do you? You seem fine without it. And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent, has all manner of opinions. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain. If it wants to go, then fine. If not, well, you should respect its wishes.
Okay. Well... guess we're gonna go up to our brain machine up there and talk to it. Really there's nothing else in here? Still my brain. Okay. Alright.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Honestly, I don't really want to kill him. What? Oh. That scared the crap out of me. That definitely scared the crap out of me.
They said I was mad. Preposterous. Not an angry bone in my body. Had them all removed.
Alright, so do we talk to this thing?
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, hmm? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
Are you my brain?
Ah,
Is that what I really sound
Figured
like?
that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
How the hell did Mobius get a hold of my brain?
After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they fell to bickering amongst themselves. I'm sad to say we were quite forgotten about. Dr. Mobius saw an opportunity to gain some leverage and had me spirited away to his dome.
How did he manage that?
I don't know. I'm afraid the trauma of our separation rendered me quite insensate. I didn't come around until I was safely ensconced in this tank. I'm quite sure whatever he did was highly scientific, though.
It seems like a pretty unlikely coincidence.
Hardly. Dr. Mobius keeps a close optical sensor on the goings-on at the think tank. As soon as he saw the opportunity, he took it.
Okay, so that's something else.
Well, as long as your curiosity is satisfied.
Let's see. There's no need to be sarcastic. Meeting your own brain is a slightly odd event.
Yes, well, believe me, the opposite is equally true. Good Lord, have you bathed at all since they pulled me out of you?
What about you? The tank isn't looking springtime fresh. Yeah, we'll say that.
Well, that's a completely different matter. The tank isn't biological. It's not the same at all.
Listen, you're my brain. You better be more respectful.
Oh, had I? What exactly will you do if I don't? Not put me back in that cranial dungeon you call your head? Heavens forbid.
I could smash this tank you're in. How about that? Once you're back in my head, I'll watch television. Lots and lots of television. I hope that wasn't too loud. Say that.
You wouldn't. That's inhuman.
I would, and I'd follow it up with an alcohol and ant nectar cocktail every night.
You're a monster. A deranged, self-destructive monster.
Don't you want to be reunited? I thought you'd be happy to get back into my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
He sounds a little bit like Stewie from Family Guy to me. Like, I don't know if that's what they were going for as like a character based off of Stewie. What about the good things? What about the cool breeze on your cheek and the smell of food, love?
Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. Oozing hormones.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So we're at an impasse. You can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way you think.
Indeed. Quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
Well, I think we have to trust each other's knowledge and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated. Now, is this the game's way of giving me a choice to either get my original brain back or keep the planted one back? Because if I keep the planted one, I might want to do that. Let's see. Let's see. Get your brain back. Reason with Dr. Mobius. You could fight Dr. Mobius. Okay, let's see. Choosing the brain reinserted will replace the brainless perk. With the big brain perk, that'll take away the plus 10% damage threshold. So basically, do I want the brain or do I not want the brain? What do you guys think? Do we take our brain back or do we just leave it here? Because what we have right now is plus 10% to damage threshold. But at the same time, it's like crazy, man. It's like I'm talking about leaving my brain here. I don't know. I mean, that perk is okay. It's not the greatest perk. It's not like we're getting +1 endurance or something like that. I think we're gonna take the brain. We're gonna take it. Whatever. It's my brain. I need it back. That's just. It's weird if we don't. If we leave and we don't have our brain in our head.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for some more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here.
We gotta go to
have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Why? They promised to put us together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
You can pick between real and fake body parts anytime. Oh, okay, cool. Alright then. We'll take our brain back. You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do. Yeah, you're part of me.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
If the think tank won't hold up their bargain, we'll make them. Yeah, let's do it.
Right. Look out, think tank. This brain is coming out of its jar. I suppose now that we're reunited,
Make up your mind,
you want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem.
There you go.
Right then, off we go. Klein will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
Your brain added. Confront Dr. Klein. Use the Sync autodock to retrieve your original heart, your original spine. I think I'm good with those hearts in the spine. I like the effects they give me. The brain one wasn't that bad. Spineless strength. I get a +1 to strength, man. Like, I need that. So we'll keep that. We'll keep those things. Do I talk to Mobius now? What do we do here? Confront Dr. Klein at the think tank and end your imprisonment at Big MT. Alright. Let's talk to Mobius one.